So guys, we're back with another week of Katekyo Hitman REBORN, and starting with this chapter 95, it continues on with the half ring battles, one-on-one battles that we have, and the first one obviously being Ryohei versus Lusaria for the Sun Ring for the Vongola. Again, it's for the position of who is the rightful heir, or basically who should be in position for the 10th generation boss, okay? And it was declared by both the 9th Vongola boss currently sitting in, and with Suna's father basically saying, you know what, you guys are going to have this duel with each other, and whoever one gets the most rings wins. And then the other side, well, it was nice knowing all of you, but you have no choice but to die. This is all the mafia, right? And so with this battle continuing off from 94, where Ryohei versus Lusaria, right? We have it where, obviously, as we all know, Varia is an expert team of assassins who work under the Vongola to take on missions that normal people, or even people that's in the mafia, well-qualified people, are unable to participate in or take on themselves, right? Hence why you got these type of individuals taking on certain missions, certain task assignments, and accomplishing them no matter what stakes is at hand, okay? So this whole fight with someone who's so experienced in fighting, aka Lusaria, versus a kid who's just been practicing in the ring for as long as we know, or less, for as long as the story has told us, it's obvious that Ryohei is in a lose situation, right? Not only that, even though they're in the ring, which Ryohei, that's his field of expertise, right? One, the arena has flashing lights that's beaming and hot to represent a fake sun. Okay, he's dehydrated, he is heavily injured, because when he punched Lusaria in the last chapter, he punched Lusaria in his metal cap knee, and might add, they also said he had like metal limbs in his knee. So when Ryohei punched him with his left hand, he basically shattered and tore the muscle tendons and all that in his left hand, right? He's injured. But he's like, you haven't received much damage, only because I've only been using my left. I haven't been using my right. So you're thinking, whoa, this guy has a card up his sleeve, right? So the whole time, as they're explaining and everything, and you know, Lusaria's like, it doesn't make a difference. The whole point, like, you're nothing against me, obviously, again, an expert versus a novice and all that. You're just gonna be a collection to all my corpses. So he likes people who are both pretty, or in his taste, but you know, they're deceased, they're like that, right? He just has a collection. I always wanted to know, now that I read the chapter, how come Akira Mono never really dug deep into Lusaria? I wanted to see that. I know it sounds messed up, but like, how much does Lusaria have? Are y'all curious about that? Like, it's a morbid curiosity, but I wish he kind of delved more into that. But that's besides the point. So Ryohei is like, you know, get prepared, because now I'm going to start using my right. Might I add, Colonel came to also witness the fight as well, because he wants to see how far his student has reached in his growth. Okay, practicing with him for like almost a week, right? So he's pushing Ryohei to say, okay, now you can actually use your technique that you've been holding back. And his technique is in his right arm. So he calls it the maximum, what was it called? Maximum cannon. So he uses all the muscles, all the cells are going like 90% of strength. And you would have thought he landed a he landed a strong strike at Lusaria. Lusaria, again, like he did the first time when Ryohei punched with his left arm. He managed to flip back. But there is a difference if you really look at the panels. Lusaria's sunglasses did crack. And the most obvious difference between Ryohei using his left and his right, when he punched with his right doing the maximum cannon, what he was aiming for was not to land a hit on Lusaria, but it was to crack all of the lights, shattering them so they don't keep beaming down on Ryohei and he doesn't continue to get exhausted. And as they were saying earlier in the chapter, like due to the whole fight draining Ryohei, and it clearly goes back to Lusaria, he's been in these type of predicaments where probably he was in a fight or a one-on-one battle where he was in extreme heat and he had to fight his opponent. Again, it goes back to even what Reborn was saying, the Varya quality. They fight until they win. It doesn't matter what circumstance they're under or who they're fighting. They're known like the demons of the Vongola. They take on any task and accomplish it, no matter what's stacked against them, right? So that tells you that Lusaria may have fought in such predicaments before and his body has adapted to it. So hence why in this entire fight you have yet to see him even sweat, to see him dehydrated, to see him exhausted. It's like, again, he's in his element, versus Ryohei, this is probably the first time he's ever really had to fight seriously. So after Ryohei punched the lights out, you're thinking, okay, he used the Air Force. No, he didn't. They broke it down saying that, like, due to, the steam that's coming off his body, almost sound like if he was watching the anime version of this, it sounded like, say like you're frying bacon. It was sizzling. You hear something sizzling and popping, and that's due to the steam coming off of Ryohei when the lights were still on, and his sweat. Eventually, he was sweating so much, and it was such intense heat that the sweat that did dry up, it turned into salt, sea salt. So what he did was he punched with enough force and enough speed that the salt off his body came off and then started to hit the lights directly, which is insane, but it's, manga and anime logic. I don't know if that's true in real life or anything of that sort, but we're just going with the anime and manga logic of the series, right? But Lusaria's like, that's an easy trick. Even I can do it too. So he got into close range with Ryohei and punched him by his cheek fast enough that he took the salt that was on Ryohei's body, because his body was glistening due to the sea salt, or basically his sweat dried up, and used it to punch out the remaining lights there was around the arena. Okay? And then they're like, oh, okay, so if he can do that, what is Ryohei capable of doing? So Ryohei goes back again on the offense to use maximum cannon, but Lusaria blocked that. He intercepted that attack and used his kneecap to block that hit from connecting with him. And again, now his right arm, his strong arm, is completely damaged. Now, if you ever realize when Ryohei ever fights, every time he shows, he's always punching with his left arm, right? And it's because he was holding back with his right arm. And then I'm believing during his training with Colonello and everything, he was helping him to say, okay, so you're using most of the energy in your left, and you're going to store all of the energy in your right till the appropriate time. But the fact that he used maximum cannon not once but twice in this fight, of course now Ryohei he's basically done for, or that's at least what they think you might think, okay? That's what they want you to believe, right? Because his maximum capacity of using maximum cannon in Colonello, when he was observing the fight as well, he's like, Ryohei can only maximize it up to about 90%. He can't use a full 100. That's as far as he can go, 90%. So for him to defeat his opponent at 90 is still not good enough, especially when you're facing against an expert in the field, right? Because versus Ryohei's boxing, we have someone that knows mixed martial arts, Muay Thai. Okay, he utilizes his entire body versus Ryohei, who only can utilize the upper half of his body. He's completely outmatching this entire ordeal. Okay, what was the most weirdest part, and I wouldn't even say the weirdest part, but it still sometimes gets me questioning and everything. With the girls in the series, especially those who are not fighters, they're just basically, they just see the things that are happening. Suna's dad found Hana and Kyoko looking for Ryohei because they're out and trying to see where did he go. It's late at, mind you, it's midnight. It's after midnight when all of this is going down. So he brought them to the fight. Kyoko seeing with her own two eyes. Mind you, it was just the previous chapter, the end of chapter 93 going into 94. They're talking about the history of the Sasagawa siblings and how like Kyoko she disdains Ryohei ever getting into fights because of the whole ordeal that happened when they were in elementary school versus those middle schoolers who, when they fought Ryohei, they cracked his skull and he ended up in the hospital. And she thought it was all her fault because they drew her out to draw him out, right? So she comes, Imitsu brings them to the fight. Obviously Hana is out of the two, realizing, this is a dangerous situation and we should not be here. Kyoko boldly goes up to the ring and she's looking at Ryohei and she said, you promised me that you wouldn't fight. It's dangerous. But Ryohei reassures Kyoko saying that I don't want to make you cry and I don't ever want to see you cry. But if it comes down to that I need to fight, I'm not going to lose. I know you don't like fighting, but if it means protecting you, I'll do everything that I can to win. She sees him heavily injured and everything. Okay, and even Lusari is telling her, I'm going to fight your brother and I'm going to kill him. Okay, right in front of her face, and she's not minding any of that. All she's honing us is seeing her brother injured. And it's just reflecting back on the trauma that she had all those years ago when they were young kids. And again, with the whole fight, him in the hospital due to an injury to the head and everything. So Ryohei finally gets up. And again, both of them are now about to go clash with each other. Lusari again tries to use his metal knee, right? Ryohei with the maximum cannon. But it ends off, which I do believe in the anime, if I remember, they censored this. Ryohei uses maximum cannon for the third time in this whole fight. The first being him trying to shatter all the lights, which he did accomplish. The second time he used it, it ended up injuring his right arm. But now he used all 100% of his cells and the strength in his right arm. And when he launched that attack to Lusaria's metal knee, not only did the metal kneecap shatter, his skin, because the panel, you see the skin starting to show, like his outer skin peeled off or is cracking off, and you see the tendons, you see the muscles. Okay, I could be wrong based on the panel or anything of that sort, but I believe we do see his muscles. Like, Ryohei's punch was so strong enough that it stripped the outer skin. The outer skin. First and foremost, he tore off the pants. Okay, broke the metal kneecap, probably broke the metal limbs in his knee. Skin stripped. The skin is stripped off, and now you're seeing the muscles. And it ends off from there. And I think they did censor that in the anime because it looks bad. It looks bad. You would have never thought a punch can do that, okay? And it just goes to show, like, many times Ryohei is not the smartest character in the series, but like, he is by far the best brawler, okay? And he knows how to maximize to the extreme his abilities, okay? And if he can do that much damage, I just wish they did more with his character in the series. I'm sorry, but it's just like, Ryohei is dangerous. He is dangerous if he's capable of doing something like that, okay? So that's the end of chapter 95 of Katekyo Hitman REBORN. Guys, do tell me how you felt about this chapter. How do you feel about this fight? It was very short and everything, but I think it's very fitting because fights in a ring don't last very long, okay? If you think they do, they probably last like an hour or something like that. But this fight is like, for every fight you're going to forward, okay? Obviously it's novices versus experts. And if this fight already showed basically Suna and the others just how bad their situation is, because they're going against people that had years of experience, has all the utilities and abilities under their belt, and they're willing to use anything and everything. I mean, even the first time when they faced against Squall, look how outmatched they were. And even with the training they have, okay, true, they didn't get the full 10 days usage of their training, but they still got something. But again, look how injured Ryohei got out of this fight. Okay, both of his arms are heavily injured. So they have to take this and learn from this fight going forward. For each match that they're going against, the person that they're going against is just as strong, if not stronger, than Lusadia. And it's going, the stakes for each fight is going to get higher and higher and higher until the last fight. Okay, so guys, do tell me in the comment section on how you felt about chapter 95. If you watch the anime version of this fight, how do you feel about it compared to chapters 90, I guess the end of 93 to 95? We will probably conclude it by 96. Okay, so do tell me how you felt about it. The links are in the description box, so you guys go check that out. And I'm Kimmy Chan of Anime Legends, and I will see you guys later. Bye!